All right, ladies and gentlemen, greetings. What is up? What is happening? It is a beautiful Thursday night, or also known as the eve of BlizzCon. Just moments, even hours probably away from all the hype and excitement. I know probably the whole Hilton Hotel down there in Anaheim is packed. I am Cheesehead Logic, and I'm proud and very happy that you guys are joining me tonight for a good old Week 3 matchup between two Midwest schools today. Brought to you by Band Gaming and Twitch, and also thank you to Blizzard for the rights to StarCraft 2. Can't complain about that bad boy. Today, obviously, we got a couple of the Midwest, I want to say, better teams. Better teams would probably be the better word for that. Chicago, in the past couple of years, have been probably one of the best programs next to Indiana, and also Illinois, or aka you guys might know them a little bit better as Illinois Urbana-Champaign. But as you see to the standings, a little bit of a difference this year in the Midwest as we've added a couple new teams. One being today's team who's playing, that's Michigan State. They're 1-0, so that's great for them. They ended up beating the KU Jayhawks. If you guys know KU, they've got Bales. Not sure exactly what happened there in Week 1, but they had a Week 2 bye, and so now both teams are actually coming off of a Week 2 bye fresh into a brand new Week 3, looking to take a lead and keep their record undefeated. Now, as you can take a look and see, some of the standings, Illinois is leading the pack right now at 3-0. Indiana right behind them. Southern Illinois is not doing too bad for themselves, but Case Western and KU leading the bottom of the pack. Today we got a good, nice little best of 5. If you guys are not familiar with the format, it is a 1v1, a 1v1, 2v2, Archon, and a 1v1 ace match if it comes down to it. So we do it a little bit differently here in the CSL, where we give a little bit more variety and opportunity in different ways for teams to compete, where of course obviously 1v1 is looked at as the very standard match, and then gives a little more obscure once we head into the 2v2 and Archon. But that's a lot of where some of the best and the fun matches come in regards to the CSL, because just some of the obscurity and some of the randomness that kind of comes along with them, just due to the fact that the game is really balanced for those type of scenarios. But let me check in with the players. Let's take a look and see if they're ready to go, and we shall be on our way. As long as they're ready, we're about ready to go. Obviously, guys, if you guys get a chance today, be sure to follow the channel on Twitch, and as well give that good old YouTube subscription as well. We post all VODs and all our content in between both of these channels throughout the year. And it looks like they're ready to go. Let's get some StarCraft, boys.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
There we go. Are we about loaded in? I think we are. There we go. Thanks, Hobbs. Keeping me honest as we load on in. It's been a good long while, boys. It's been a good long while since we've done the good old StarCraft 2 thing. Now let's make sure we remember some of these good old commands. There we go. Let's change that to a best of 5 and 0-0. Now, do we have our sound on? Guys, I promise I tested something. I don't know what I tested, but I tested something before coming on today. Maybe it's just me not hearing something. Is the music not going on? Let's take a look and see, guys. It never is perfect. Never is perfect. Alright, so welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to today's StarCraft 2 broadcast between Chicago and Michigan State. Starting over here at the top left side of the map, representing Chicago, I think if I'm not mistaken, a general 2v2 player from last year, now transitioning over to the 1v1, we have, oh my god, a banana. And are none of my keys wanting to work? Some of them don't. There we go. Meanwhile, over here at the bottom right side of Apotheosis, we have our Zerg player, the captain for Michigan State. It is lucky number 7. So ZVP to kick us off today on Apotheosis, we already see a quick expand over to the gold base right here by 7. Generally a good idea, as a lot of times it's pretty hard to do a lot of pressure early in the game, at least on some of the Zergs on a big lengthy map like this. Decides to take his natural as the third base, gets gas first, and so it's a 3 hatch before pool opening right here coming out from 7. We'll see what he's going to be able to do. Tough to say how effective that's going to end up being. Meanwhile, already a quick base, but due to the fact that he went for a gate expand first of all on the low ground, he might be able to actually put a little bit of pressure on some of these outer bases, and it's really just one of those things you probably should at least attempt to with an adept or two, or maybe a zealot here and there. Just something where he could poke and prod, because you really don't want to let a Zerg player just get away with the 3 hatch before pool, build up their economy in peace, and then already by the 5-minute mark they're kicking into gear, looking to get layer and producing units at a very fast pace, and having that gold based economy is obviously very helpful indeed. Now we're on the eve of BlizzCon, so hopefully maybe even some of you guys are watching over from Anaheim right now. I know it's going to be a lot of fun right there. There's a lot of hype because in WCS right now we have a couple of foreigners, actually 3 to be total if I'm not mistaken, currently in the WCS finals. That is the top 8 that are going to be playing. Either it's tomorrow or Saturday. I'll need to double check, because I definitely want to I definitely want to keep my eyes on that. If we get a chance to catch some foreigners play, that'll be a lot of fun. If I'm not mistaken, I think it's a Laser, a Zerg, we have Neve from the Protoss side, and Showtime as well for the foreigners. But lots of tough Koreans along the other side for the other 5 players, especially one of the favorites, Byun. Good old Terran player, will be fun to watch and see what he does. Now, why is my I got an interesting conundrum with my mouse key. It won't let me click drag. We'll have to try to see if we can fix that in between games. But you could already see the Resonating Glaives. The additional attack for the Adept upgrade is underway. Gateway research is about done, but now you should be able to at least get a few drones here. We'll see how quick 7 reacts. He takes already 1 drone out, forces 1 to spine crawler up, gets gas as well, now takes 2 out. So at least forcing him to react, at least utilize some units, but not at least overreacting on the side of where he's producing anything quickly. He's got a few more lings coming out, finishing on up speed, but it didn't really trigger something very painful like a lot of lings, something that forced him to get very involved in terms of the unit count. Take a look and see already 31 drones and continually getting produced as well. And then on the other side though, a very healthy 2-base economy for our Protoss player Banana, doing a very nice job of getting all the necessary upgrades. He might just put on a lot of pressure with Adepts, as we take a look and see right now. With that Glaives upgrade and this gate amount, he's just going to be able to send a massive amount of Adepts across the map. And obviously, if you're not familiar with Adepts, their mobility is incredibly amazing once you actually use their shadows, and they do very good damage against lings. They're okay against queens, but in massive amounts they could take them out just as quick, so we'll have to be very careful, because the thing too as well is when micro with the Adepts, they can be attacking in one place and their shadows could be traveling into another area, and then all of a sudden you look at another base and they could be there already. Well, meanwhile, as we set out a good little pack of Adepts across the map, we got a 3rd base going up for Oh My God Banana. Meanwhile, behind it a Forge and a couple more gases. Obviously, usually, eventually, to a point and extent, a lot of ZVPs that I've seen end up going into Immortal Archon, just due to the fact that you need that much firepower towards the later stages of the game to deal with some of the units. But here we go. Here comes the first flock of Adepts. As they come across, they're going to be doing some serious damage. Already taken 1 queen out. We have lings running back home, but those that is not even enough lings to deal with the current mess in place right now. Adepts are going to shadow into the main base. Oh My God Banana doing a lot of damage right now to the natural hatch, and this is not one of those occasions where they should really be even taking out a base, but they're going to be doing quite a bit of damage. Roach Warren is now done. The first roaches are underway, but the Adepts are covered really nicely by the concave of these minerals, gases, and the hatch, and they might even take out all the lings before a single roach can pop out. Now they shadow into the natural, but they run into a pack of roaches over on the left side of the map, and now they're going to have to back on out. But I think really a good amount of effective damage has been done between the drones moving around all over the place, not mining, losing the queens, forcing more units to come on out. Definitely a loss in regards to our player here, Zerg 7. And in the backside, 3rd base finally completed at the gold. We have a War Prism coming on out. That's going to help him produce units a lot quicker. Sentries coming on in to deal and fend off against these roaches, at least until they turn into Ravagers. But with the lair just coming up now for our Zerg player, you have to say that, oh my god, Banana is in a good position. Additional gates getting added on in, +1 attack underway. Dark Shrine behind this, and again, if you guys aren't familiar as well with StarCraft 2, the Dark Shrine can be used not only to build in DTs, but the DTs, with 2 of them, can morph into Archons. So we're going to have a little bit of a teaching stream today, guys. We're gonna be educational, since this is a collegiate league. We worry about our students. We want them to be smart. Now, what's not a smart move right here is being caught out in the open with a lot of sentries, and that's not going to help out the case. He's going to have to force field off some of these roaches and might not be able to do enough to save some of these sentries, and now he's going to be in a little bit of trouble because he's got to fend against these roaches, these Ravagers. He forces the pylon cannon up, is going to shut it down, and once that shuts down, that's going to kill the production of the Immortal getting built, and the Immortal could have dealt a lot of damage to these roaches, but he'll have to deal right now with what he's got, utilizing the pylon cannon, every gateway unit that he's got, microing out of the way of the Ravager shots, taking out the roaches, and actually doing a nice job of slowly pushing back all of these units. Does maybe a little bit of an ill-advised blink on top, loses a couple of stalkers, but for the most part, this is going to be just enough to fend off the rest of this push. Wow, what an engagement. Great stuff right there from Oh My God Banana. Good control, doing a nice, decent job of trading, and now just units flooding across the map, kind of getting fed into this Protoss army. We look at the supply difference, not too big of a difference, but the one that concerns me is the army value. With only 3 hatches and a 4th one coming up right now, it doesn't look like he will have enough units to defend right now. He's got a pack of units to the left side, but these are slow roaches. They don't have speed yet. These are not Ravagers. They're not going to be able to be the big damage dealers. And then you have Lings. But you have Lings that are going to be trying to fight against Adepts, Stalker, Sentries. They're going to have a hard time trying to get some sort of concave. And this is a really good move right here, I think, from Oh My God, a Banana. Because he shadows up to the high ground, sees that there's not a lot of danger for him to face. And even then, I think he could fight that. And while he's doing that, he's sneakily sending a couple DTs into the natural base. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, we have Lings trying to attempt to do a run by, but already everything is walled off. An Immortal is out, pylon cannons defending everything back at home, and now this base is under a lot of trouble. This is where a lot of the economy is right now. Oh my God, a Banana, oh my God, you're doing it. I think he's going to be able to take game number 1 with good control, decision making, and indeed he does. There's the GG, and we have ourselves a game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Check them bones out. Well, that was pretty solid, if I have to say so myself. That was a pretty good little match for our Protoss player here from Chicago. Overall, again, looking back at it, good control, good decision making. Even though he saw his opponent go for the 3 hatch before pool, he didn't panic. He utilized it to invest more into units. He knew the fact... It's kind of that like mental trade-off. If you know your opponent's going for economy, he's not going to have a lot of defenses available and ready right away. So he took advantage of that, sent forces, controlled very well, got a lot of damage done, traded enough, backed out with whatever he could, and then eventually began building up his 3rd base economy. Meanwhile, you look back at the Zerg, after that attack was just reeling a lot of times, was having a hard time getting a 4th base up in time, and then instead of actually working on the economy and resetting everything, he went for that counter, wasn't able to get the necessary damage done to force his opponent back or put him in a little bit of trouble, and really that's what lost him game number 1. Indeed, indeed, indeed. Alright guys, we're going to take a quick little couple-second break. Please hang tight, and we're going to be right back with game number 2 with Shrek versus Tombi, a TVZ.
Loved ones. We've had lots of your Valentine's messages sent in this week. Aaron Armelini from Orlando, Florida wants to thank Dance Music for bringing him and Christina Pavlovsky together. Sol Hayashi from Argentina says she and her boyfriend Charlie got together at our show last year in Buenos Aires and is happy to say they are still very happy together. And David Thompson is sending his love around the world to Ashley from Afghanistan. And me, myself, would like to thank Ayumi Hamasaki, as it was whilst working on the remix for her that I met the true love of my life. Aussie Williams Also can't wait to spend a very cold night with his Valentine, Annina, when we return to Helsinki on March the 2nd. I look forward to seeing you both there. To find out more about our forthcoming Scandinavian and Russian tour dates, head to aboveandbeyond.nu. That was Armin and Artie with Nahelenia, and here next is the Well and Roush mix of Our Way Home by Lange and Audrey Gallagher.
Unbroken wings, you found your freedom, and my heart says to be still beside you, still breathing inside you. Group therapy with Above and Beyond. Hold on to your love, arms open, still hoping. Hold on to your life. I'm waiting, still waiting.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.
Alright guys, welcome back. Hopefully everybody's having a good Thursday night, and hopefully all those audio issues are out of the way. I want to welcome everybody back. We will set that as a score lead for our pink player, but let's start off on good old Frozen Temple down here at the bottom right side of the map. It is going to be our green Zerg. It is Tombi. What if we wiggle? What if we wiggle here? Ah! Can we zoom out, please? There we go. Did we fix the mouse drag? We did fix the mouse drag. God, am I a god or am I a god? Alright, over here at the top left side of the map, we have our pink Terran representing Chicago. It is going to be none other than the green man himself, Shrek. And I just realized that's what their CSL banner is on the website. They have like a Shrek image. And that's I guess that's who they represent it after. But TVZ on Frozen Temple, we have Shrek opening up, it looks like with the standard Rax gas. Meanwhile, for the most part, a hatch gas pool over here from our Zerg player, so a little bit of a classic TVZ. As a Terran player myself that recently has barely ever played Legacy of the Void, you guys are going to have to deal with this complaint. I find TVZ a very interesting and a kind of a little bit of a non-dynamic matchup because it seems like it goes either two ways a lot of these times. It's either the Terran beats the Zerg by a timing of an attack or pressure that forces him to spend or use all his economy before he could get into Hive and Ultralisk tech, or the Zerg gets enough time to get out the Ultralisks and starts the StarCraft 2 cannon, just starts marching over the Terran player. But we have seen recently a lot of times different variety of builds, Roach rushes, or I guess Roach Ravager rushes. Meanwhile, the Terran puts a lot of pressure with Reapers, or ends up getting a quick little 2-base pressure, which drops while he expands out to the third. It really just kind of depends what the flavor of the game is. Reaper going to be coming out for Shrek right now, going to check out what's going on. Meanwhile, it looks like a drone is coming out to set that third base. Why can I not click on a unit? Did I somehow managed to unbind my left mouse button. I am a god, but not a god. I literally can't left click on anything. What did I unbind to do that? Why has God forsaken me? It's okay. We'll do scrolling. We need to fix that though, don't we? We probably do. Hold on. That's gotta be fixed. Camera, scroll up, rotate. Can I, like, where's my click? No, not unit management. I think it's selection. Left mouse button. There we go. That's terrible. That would be terrible if I couldn't click on a single unit this whole entire game. I apologize for that. Alright, here we go. Looking at this Reaper, he spots the third base. Not really going to be able to do too much in theory, obviously, due to the fact that it's just itself. Follow-up is going to be a Hellion Banshee? Yeah, it looks like a Hellion Banshee pressure, and this obviously can be good just due to the fact that still, even if Ravagers come out on the map, they can only target aim a location, not an exact unit, so it's really down to the Greens to defend, so it does allow for more mobility and damage to be done by the Banshee eventually. Let's open up that production tab and actually see and confirm that is the case. We have a Banshee coming out as well as also Cloak upgrade for it, so potential for damage is pretty high. This has been just one of the actual standard builds all the way from Wings of Liberty for Terran. It's been used through all expansions of the game. We'll see how much these Hellions and Reapers can do though up until the Banshee ends up coming on out. It will do a little bit of damage to the hatch, at least lower its HP before it's built, but I don't think it's going to have enough to eventually deny it. Lair is underway for our Zerg player. He hasn't started his evolution chamber, so hasn't really given away his tech path just yet, and that's the case. Usually you'll see either a big investment in the gas, and that will indicate mutas, or you'll have the Evo chambers come down with a Roach Warren, which indicates he's going to be sticking on a little bit more of a formidable lair tech in the game. Now the Lings are doing a pretty good damage here, and the Shrek not paying attention to his Hellions gets swallowed up right there, loses all of the units on the forefront, and that just leaves a single solo Banshee here to try and do whatever it can. Cloak upgrade is not done, and it's already receiving a bit of damage here, a little bit sooner than you would like to see. And it's an interesting situation for our Terran here, because if he allows his third base to, you know, stay up and running without really taking any damage, it could end up being problematic. And due to the Cloak upgrade finishing so late, all of these Spore Crawlers will end up finishing up. I don't know how much damage he could even get on the drones, and it looks like he's going to end up getting none. Really, all he's got to do is just transfuse this Queen, send it under the Spore Crawler, and it's going to be just fine. Maybe a bit of a misclick here to get the drones off of the base, but already that Banshee is just about down and out. Meanwhile, other side of the map, resources getting used to repair against these couple Lings on the other side trying to get by the wall. Not going to be able to do so, though, for the time being. So for Tombi, it's been a fairly good start right now. Getting into Lair tech, getting Overlord speed. We look back on the other side of the map. and see that our third base is coming on up. Personally, myself, I'm excited to see this season finally how the East ends up squaring up against the West. If you guys aren't familiar really too much with the CSL over the past however many years, probably even all the way back until the Brood War days, we've really had a big domination display by our West Coast teams. And a lot of the times it's been UC Berkeley winning title after title, including last year's title, DreamHack Austin. But Temple might be finally that formidable opponent that we saw this year with Rays, with Tesla, with a big pack of GMs that are going to be leading the charge this year, and a lot of good talent out in the East and the North. There is a chance that finally, for the first year in quite a while, we're going to end up seeing an East Coast team take a title. Obviously, we've seen you know, teams like Western Ontario, we've seen Toronto compete pretty well, but it's been a West Coast party for the most part over across the past few years. But we are watching the Midwest, and as much as I want to praise the Midwest, I don't think they're going to have as great of a chance this year to try to take a title just yet. There are some outside runners, maybe like an Indiana, maybe even a Chicago, to be honest, but just looking at the depth and the talent pool that they have currently playing for them, that might not be the case. Alright, with Laretech finishing up, we actually have Baneling Speed and Carapace coming up +1. Do we have a second Evo chamber anywhere out on the map? No, we don't. There's still no indication exactly where he plans and what he wants to do in terms of tech pass just yet. Cute little run by coming over here towards the third base, but a wall gets up in time. He's going to have to reroute himself into the mineral line a little bit better, but that will give those Marines time to react. We'll have to run out with the few lings that he managed to scrape away with. And now that third base is well defended. And this is kind of a bit scary because right now, without the tech path really in place, we do finally see a Spire going down for our Zerg player. It feels like it's just coming a little bit too late. The Spire, as it's building, what is it going to really be able to do? Not too much. He's going to have to somehow defend this fourth base with just Lings and Banelings until he could eventually build up and produce mutas, but that's going to be some time. We have a good little Bioforce. They're breaking the rocks. They've got Widow Mines. He gets, you know, he has shields already up on him. He has shields. He's got Widow Mines. There's a lot of opportunity for the Terran to actually get some good damage done. And as well as also he's got +2/+2 underway, an upgrade lead on the Zerg player, and that's really not something that you want to see from a Terran player because upgrades are very important to the Zerg, especially if they're going to be just sitting on Ling Baneling. You want those Banelings to be as upgraded as possible, as well as those Lings to do as much amount of damage and splash damage as possible. And with the armor upgrades currently in position for the Terran, they're going to be able to soak up more of those Banelings than ever before. But here we go. Widow Mines burrowing down. They're going to be getting some good damage down on the Lings. End up actually clearing out not too much there, but still a good Marine force that we see here. And it looks like he's not going to be able to defend at this fourth base after all. But wait a second. Hold on. Rolls on through. Good little splits right there coming out from our Terran player, Shrek. And this is a problem right now because now he's trading a massive amount of units to try to defend this fourth base. Doesn't end up defending it, even a Muta popping up right in front of the pack. And now all Shrek has to do is just pick up and go home, and he can call this a success. Even then he's got a whole nother platoon coming across the map. Now there are some mutas out on the field, but not a big plethora, and unfortunately he's not really paying attention to his queens, and he's going to end up losing them before the Banes and everything else that can connect. He is a little bit on creep. We'll have to back up, splits away, takes a little bit of damage, but still the push ends up continuing. You can see a big supply lead right now coming out from Shrek. Army leading the way probably twice as much, and he has got to get magical Baneling hits on these Marines to be able to change the outcome of this game, because it looks like Shrek is on a train, and that's a one-way ticket to victory. Is he going to be able to stop him? That doesn't look to be the case. More and more splits, man. The essence of Maru right here. Somewhere a Korean Terran's just crying right now, just shedding tears of joy just watching this happen right now. And it looks to be the case that just too much momentum from the Terran player, not enough tech in place and defenses for the Zerg over on Michigan State. And that is a 2-0 lead for our Chicago boys. Not bad though. It was a good game. It was a good game up until the point where the Terran decided to push. I felt like, at least for our Zerg player, I would have hoped he would have been able to produce more units, just due to the fact that he hasn't spent so much on actual tech. he might have been able to, you know, get a 4th base up a little bit sooner and as well just mass produce a Ling Bailing up until he gets that later Spire and the Mutas. If he wasn't able to do that, then, you know, you can't have nothing of nothing. You can't have tech and you can't have units that late in the game and expect to be able to survive against that type of a push. You need to sort of make a decision one way or the other, and then eventually catch up on the other side if you could hold off the attack. So, all right, guys. Well, we are now with a 2-0 lead in favor of Chicago. That means we're going to be heading into the 2v2 with Michigan State in the corner right now. They've got one game to begin their comeback, and that's going to have to be in the 2v2. So we're going to be right back in a couple minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere. More StarCraft action coming up.
Group therapy with Above and Beyond. You like a time bomb. Time bomb. You like a time bomb. Time bomb. You like a time
You're tuned to Group Therapy Radio with us, Above and Beyond. Stay tuned for this week's Push the Button track, our flashback track, and that guest mix from Gabriel and Dresden. That there was the audio mix of Time Bomb by Zar and Molly Bancroft, and here next, taken from Volume 10, is Mike Schieber with Oh.
Group therapy with Above and Beyond.
only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Welcome back. Greetings if you're just tuning in. We have got some StarCraft action for you, and it is now the 2v2 match for our best of 5. Currently, University of Chicago is leading 2-0, and we see the Unexpectable and Pancakes, Zerg and Protoss combo loading in versus the Protoss and Terran combo from Michigan State, ran by Reclaimer and Chili King. Now, if only all of us could load. If only Blizzard have the technology to get us into game, we would be we'd be good to go. We'd be almost good to go. Okay, there we go. Looks like Reclaimer's our last player left. And there we go. Oh no, guess who goofed up and definitely didn't put on the in-game 2v2 overlay? This guy. Oh, we'll just put on the 1v1 overlay for the time being then. Oh man. Alright. So down here at the bottom left side of the map in the green, representing University of Chicago, it's Unexpectable. Biggie Smalls is the illest, if anybody knows that song. His partner is going to be the Protoss player Pancakes, the Teal Protoss. Now the cool thing about a Protoss and Zerg combo is there's a lot of different variants in playstyle that you could utilize. You can put on a lot of early pressure with Ling, Roach Ravager, and Adept, and maybe even some Stalker play. And obviously the later the game goes, I feel like the more brute force the composition has with the Archons, the Colossus, some of the Air Toss, and then on top of that the Ultralisks and some of the late game Zerg that has capability of producing in the late stages of the game. Now we go over to the other side of the map of Seething Jungle, and it's going to be Michigan State's Reclaimer in the purple for our Protoss player, and then we're going to have our yellow Terran. He's going to be Chili King. I can't believe my middle mouse button's not working. We're going to have to work that out. God, it's just one of those really tough habits to relearn. Again, for any StarCraft player that's ever played, and then you have your hotkeys set for about a year or maybe 2 years, and then you look online and you see, maybe I should try something else, or you're learning from a pro player and you want to kind of re-hotkey something because you think it will maybe make you play a little bit more efficient, but your fingers just can't get used to some of those habits that you built up over the years, and that's kind of my case right now for observing. I've always had the middle mouse button be my true guide in terms of drag scrolling, and unfortunately today it's not working, so I had to set it up to a different mouse button, and now I'm just lost. Now I'm just lost in the abyss of StarCraft. I think probably StarCraft 2 and Dota players are the only two players that could really appreciate what hotkeys mean. League doesn't understand. They don't have anything to hotkey. CSGO, skilled game, but you don't really have much to hotkey either. You just, you've got your mouse roll, you spam Q and just roll through your weapons really quickly. 1, 2, 3. You don't really have a lot in CSGO either to hotkey. It's mainly just StarCraft 2 and Dota 2. The reason I say Dota 2 is because there's different abilities, there's items that you have to kind of worry about a little bit more as well, and the ability to customize them as well, and the way you can micro through things can obviously shift as well. Yeah, by the way, shoutouts to our Dota 2 team. If you guys don't have enough esports in your life today, over on the Twitch TV/C Star League stream, our first channel, we have some Dota 2 action today going up against two of the best Western teams, UC Davis versus UCLA. Really, really good squads for Dota 2. So if you get a chance to, go say hi, give a little bit of a peek. We have two of our finest casters as well, Llama and Gorgon. Gorgon probably has some of the best analysis I think I've ever heard, like, out of any game. I'll be honest. Like, how he's not endlessly broadcasting professional leagues, and then, how he's not the major commentator every time is just a shock. I don't know how we got him. I got lucky. I'm lucky to have Gorgon on the team. That's all I'm saying. All right, let's take a look back at game right now. We have, looks like both players peacefully expanding for the time being. Really no pressure at all from either team. Chicago, though, has been the more active team. They have had a chance to kind of see what's going on. They've scouted a little bit more, and they do see that they are still stuck on one base. The Lynx could obviously tell if there's some sort of an expansion in place. We have a drop coming out up to the other side of the map, but a Mothership Corps Stalker is already here to greet them, as well as also probably some units from our Zerg player if you wanted to come over and help really quickly. In-base hatch coming out from our Zerg player. Production's going to increase for him here for the time being, and the medevac does get spotted, so he's going to have to react, move quickly as he can. Though quick photon overcharge will force him to back on out and think about going towards the natural, but got to be careful with the Mothership Core. Can he activate another photon overcharge? There we go. Ends up doing so, but how much damage can he get done? The Widowmine, will it burrow? He needs to focus fire at the Widowmine. He doesn't, and it ends up burrowing. Luck be a lady. Jesus. That Widowmine hits the gas geyser, ends up taking one probe's death. That could have ended up being a lot worse. That's why you have to make sure, kids. Micro all the way through. But while that was going on the other side of the map, we have a whole pack of Stalkers beginning to attack the natural, going into the drones, and ending up catching some of these spawning units as well. And he'll have to do his best to defend right here. He needs some help from his Protoss teammate as well to help him out as best as he possibly can. I don't know if he could do this just with Zerg units alone with a few roaches and some drones, and that looks to be the case. Like, he's going to be able to do just fine. But more units coming on up, and still, unfortunately, our Michigan State players are sitting on one base right now, so it looks like they're going all in. We'll see if this is going to work out for them, because right now already the production and the additional economy is starting to kick in for Chicago. This is just one of those things in theory crafting for Legacy of the Void. I've always considered it's better to be a two-base player than a one-base player. It's not like HOTS or Wings of Liberty where you don't have enough economy to invest into both microing and macroing. You're able to quickly get up to second base, quickly utilize that economy to produce and defend. And here we go, positioning with Liberators and tanks. This is going to be a hard task, I feel like, for our Chicago players. They have one shot to make it, and it's really going to be on the back of these tanks, these Liberators, and he needs help from the Zerg player. The Zerg, though, is focusing down on these portable gateways right here, leaving our Protoss player all by himself. Not the greatest of communication right now coming out from Chicago, and because of that, the Protoss player Pancakes, he's losing a lot of units due to that, and he might end up losing this expansion. This might be the opening that they've been looking for. If all the units were here, he might have been able to get something done, but now we have just the Zerg player running in by himself, and that's a problem as well, because it's kind of like the theory craft of any MOBA as well. If you run in one by one against the big team fight, you're always going to feed your opponent, and you never want to feed. That's lesson number one. And there goes all the Zerg units, and hold on just a second. Michigan State might be coming back into this series via what else but the 2v2. Nexus falls, Protoss player Pancakes down to one base. Can Unexpectable bring out the unexpected? And it doesn't look to be the case. Now there's too much firepower, not enough production from either player, and they're going to be just continuously pursuing on forward. They've got too much firepower, and can they hold it any longer? There's another pack of Zerg units, but yeah, they were kind of sitting in the back over there. And it gets a nice little surround on the tank. At least takes one of the tanks out. Going to get a surround on the other tank. No, lifts it up just in time. Medevac one by itself, trying to heal up whatever it can. Immortal's coming on through, doing what it can as well. And World Micro maybe back out of some danger, but still just too many units right now for both of our Michigan State players. Coming on through really quickly. Reclaimer going to move on forward, see if he can maybe poke in at the Zerg base. Now, be careful right here. If the Zerg sends out a lot of forces in the front, and then the Protoss Pancakes gets behind all of that and begins focus firing stuff like the Medevac, the Vikings, he might be okay, actually. As you can see, the Zerg units are beginning to pile up. Again, the Lings and the Roaches, they can go up and soak the damage, and meanwhile Pancakes can then eat it up and go attack from the back flank. He could be the second round of the attack, and here we go. I think they're going to work this out. I think they might believe that they could take the attack, but they have to decide if they want to take the attack. They either have to attack or they have to back on up. They can't just continuously send units within the range of the tanks, eating up all of this splash damage. It's a huge problem right now for Chicago. I think they've had a couple opportunities to maybe break out and do something about this, but they've really had a hard time communicating and deciding where they want to go with the attack. And once again, another shot from the tanks is going to be eating it up. Now, while we're watching this, understand that our Zerg player over here has gotten a third base in the back, and There's still no expansions available for our Michigan State players, so if they end up actually breaking out of this could spell bad news for them, and oh my goodness, it's actually happening. Or look at this. Chicago's breaking on out. They're breaking them. They're breaking them, man. Throw in the towel, Rock. Throw in the towel. Apollo can't go any longer. And it looks like that's the case. They're going to break through. They're going to defend all of this, and now the counterattack is underway. Look at Chicago. Look at the balls on these two boys. Man, they are... okay, that's probably not the best use of words, but look at their defenses right there. I actually expected them to fall apart. That's usually the case in point when it comes to 2v2. Once you put up enough pressure to break the initial pack of units, take out an expansion, there's really nothing to fall back on the expanding team. But they ended up waiting patiently in time, and I also mentioned this, there is a third base for Unexpectable as well, so some additional production, I guess, from the Zerga helped them out. Yeah, wow. Well, live long and prosperous, Chicago, because you can back up, you can sit patiently, you can recover your bases. Unfortunately, our two players from Michigan State are going to begin bleeding out here very quickly. Almost no resources available for the Terran player as he tries to build up an expansion. Meanwhile, our Protoss player doesn't really have a lot of probes available for him. I don't know what happened in this main base. Maybe did an Oracle take it out? What's the command? Is it Shift L? Shift L. 22 probes have been killed. I'm gonna just theory craft and say that I missed an Oracle flying in here and just zapping all of those drones or probes down. Yeah, that's not good, boys. That's not good at all, because right now the economy is very healthy, and I think Pancakes realizes he has the opportunity to double expand if he wants to once again. And really, I mean, what are your options if you're Michigan State? You're completely bleeding out. You're going from one base economy to one base economy. Or if you're a Reclaimer, you're going from half base economy to maybe a one base economy. Meanwhile, Pancake's grabbing the third base. He's got full saturation on the natural. A little bit bled out, obviously, from the time being on both of the players from the mains, but they still have now, with these additional bases, ability to spread out the economy significantly, much more so across all of these bases compared to their opponents. Creep spread's looking good. Upgrades are looking even better. And at this point, it's just a game of time. The inevitable really looks like it's going to be a Chicago victory, but just when is that Chicago victory going to come? I guess for the time being, while we're weighing everything up, for those that are going to be watching BlizzCon, Round of 8 actually ends up starting tomorrow, the quarterfinals. For those that are trying to keep a calendar or trying to figure out when I should be tuning in for some StarCraft action, tomorrow, Showtime versus a Laser, 16 hours from now, so be sure to set those alarm clocks. They're going to be playing, I think it's around noon, or maybe a little bit after that. What's 16 hours from now? I think it's going to be right about noon. They're going to start the initial games. That's Showtime and a Laser, so the first two foreigners. And then we're going to end up having, I think it's Dark versus Neve, Ty versus Beyond, and then Zest versus Stats to finish off the first day. So a good Friday full of StarCraft overall. Be ready. I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be watching for sure. I haven't watched the whole ton of LOTV this year and haven't played even. I haven't watched a ton of LOTV and sure as hell haven't played a ton. But this is just one of those events, if you guys have never watched, it's always a lot of fun to watch. If you get if you get ever a chance to go to BlizzCon, holy hell, man, that's a place where you want to be at. That's probably one of the best ran events over in any kind of capacity of any convention of any type of an event of any sort. Lots and lots of fun. Looking back at the game right now, University of Chicago building up a great force of roaches, hydras, lings, ravagers. And they are ready to make the move, as well as the Protoss, Zealot, Stalker, Templar army. And I mean, you just look at it and you wonder, like, what can defend this? We have a pack of Stalkers, we have a few tanks in the back and some Marines. Everything's going to get stormed off. Roaches, Lings are going to soak up the Widow Mines and some of the initial splash, and then eventually it's just going to be GG. Really, just an overwhelming amount of units right now on the map for Reclaimer, almost at 160 out of his 200 supply. And then we have the Protoss flanking on the other side, bringing in a nice little bit of 120 muscle as well. Here we go, boys. Time to watch our FPS drop, and everything just gets blown up. Beautiful storms, as we have ever seen. The Viking gods appreciate it. And at this point, I don't think no matter however many SCVs you have, you're not going to be able to save that CC. And there's the GG, and Chicago bringing the brooms today, boys. They're going to take a 3-0 over Michigan State, proving that they're one of the Midwest powerhouses. And there we have it. Unexpected pancakes 2v2 victory. Well, guys, it's been a fun night of action. It's been a while since I broadcasted some StarCraft 2, but I'm glad it happened tonight. Had a lot of fun. Next week we should have Ravi, aka Fear Dragon, and Joe back to have your regularly scheduled program every Tuesday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. And let me double check and see who's going to be playing next Tuesday and Thursday. I'd have it off the top of my head, but trying to remember, if, 16 matches a week is it gets overwhelming. All right, we're going to have Rochester Institute of Technology, or better known as RIT. They're going to be playing against New York. So a couple of the East Coast powerhouses. Obviously, if you're familiar with New York, they are one of the strongest teams out there in the East, and one of the best ran programs as well. And then next Thursday, we're going to have Kansas versus Chicago. So Chicago, who you just saw today, take a 3-0 victory. They're going to be playing against Kansas, who's got Mr. Bales leading the squad. We'll see if they can maybe make, or I guess if they could change some of their fortunes on how they've started out this season. But until then, guys, be sure to check out all of our broadcasts across the Collegiate Star League. Like right now, over on our first channel, we have Dota 2, and tomorrow we'll be back on this channel with some Vainglory. On our first channel Saturday, League of Legends and Counter-Strike action. So just follow the channels, guys. You'll get pinged when we go live. Come over at any of those times. Say hello to our casters, some of the community. Always a fun time to hang around other college students, and be sure to do that. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/CStarLeague. All the VODs of all of these matches go up there as soon as the broadcast goes down, even if it's in the middle of the broadcast, but it does happen. And of course, as always, I want to thank our sponsors, Band Gaming. If you guys are not familiar with the Band app, it's a wonderful social communication app. If you guys are looking for a place to have team meetings, get a group together, scheduling, voice calls, any really necessity for a social experience, go to Band Gaming, and you could just type in the !band command in chat, and it will take you over to our Collegiate Star League group, where you can be part of the collegiate scene along with other collegiate students and band. And as well as also, it's very important because a lot of our admins hang out there, so if you need a direct line to the Collegiate Star League, that's a great place to start. As well as also, thank you to Twitch. If you're watching the stream, you know what it's about. The premier streaming program has always been supporting collegiate programs and leagues across the world, as well as also esports from here and there, all over the place. We thank them. We thank you for watching. I hope you guys have a good night. Go watch some BlizzCon tomorrow, and we'll see you next time.
Only $14.99.
Don't miss the call. Download Band. Communication made easy.
Ben, Sam, and Ken are on separate journeys to defeat the menacing Vile Dragon. But let's just say luck isn't on their side. If only there was a way for them to find each other and band together. Well, that's why there's Band. It's a mobile app that allows people to come together using common interests. With Band, you can find fellow gamers, chat, schedule gaming sessions, and conduct polls. Stage epic battles with friends while sharing videos and photos along the way. So try Band today. Band. Be together.